All right, so let's take a look at compliance policies. First of all, we're going to the Intune Admin Center, and then in the left menu, we're going to go to Devices. Inside Devices, we're going to go down to Compliance. So here we're going to see the monitoring ability, and you have different windows you can see inside there on whether you want to review some of the policies and settings and monitor them. But to create one, click on Policies and create a policy. So you're going to select your platform. In this case, we're going to do Windows 10 and later, and then create it. Name your policy, and then click Next. Now, here's where you're afforded a wealth of opportunity to set compliance settings. So let's start at the top, custom compliance. So inside here, you can determine whether you want to require it, where you add a script, and upload a JSON file. I can click it, and then it requires those. You also have device health. So inside device health, you can say Windows 10 or 11 require BitLocker, require secure boot, or require code integrity. So those are all options that you can set to make sure the devices that this is applied to are compliant. If they meet these requirements, they'll be considered compliant. So same thing for device properties. Let's see what's in there. Operating system version. So you can set the minimum operating system that a device should be running at, the maximum operating system, and you can work it with mobile devices as well. Now, configuration manager compliance. So you can require device compliance from configuration manager. So if you're using SCCM config manager, you can hit require, and now it's going to point towards config manager and the settings you have set in there that's co-managing these devices, and use that for compliance setting. You have system security. There's a lot in system security. So you can set password, require password to unlock mobile devices. Well, in this case, we're working on Windows 10, so it's not a mobile device. Simple passwords, password type. So let's go ahead and do that because it's all of them, right? We can block simple passwords. The type of password it can be, minimum password length, minutes of inactivity before password is required, so you can have it timeout, an expiration date for passwords, number of previous passwords to prevent reuse, so they can't reuse the same password over and over and over, and require a password when it returns from an idle state. You can also require encryption of data storage on the device. You can require firewall turned on, TPM. So if the device doesn't have TPM, it's not compliant. You can require antivirus and anti-spyware on there as well. Defender also has an option. So you can require Microsoft Defender anti-malware. You can specify the minimum version, making sure the intelligence is up to date with real-time protection. So once you turn that on, now those light up. And remember, that's system security. Even though Defender was listed in there, you also have Microsoft Defender for Endpoint as a listing in here as well. So at or under the machine risk score. So if you list a score, Microsoft Defender rates your device based on many settings. And you can say, hey, if the device is at a medium state, it'll be good, right? Or if it's a low state, we'll consider it compliant. So that's one of those you can configure as well, based on what Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, if you're using that, evaluates the computer as. So those are the settings. After that, you can set actions for non-compliance. If a device is not compliant, right, what do you want to do? Do you want to send an email to the user? You can also retire it if you want. Sending an email to the user, how many days they can be out of compliance. You can have a template for that email, by the way. That's where you select it right there. And additional recipients if you want somebody else to be aware, not just the person out of compliance, but maybe an administrator. So we are going to delete that. Cool. Now we assign it. These are the groups, the security groups that we can assign that to for those devices to determine whether those devices are compliant. Once you assign your groups, remember you can also exclude groups if you need to as well, if there's any administrative ones or ones that have a special reason. And then once you've reviewed it, you can create that rule. And then those devices will have compliance policy enabled, and you can use that to determine other actions based on that compliance setting.